Toyota Camry, the ultimate mom car. In all actuality, this is my mom's car. I dropped her off at the airport, decided to check the oil, being the car guy that I am, and yeah, it was a little bit low. It was almost 2 full quarts low, so got to investigating a little bit, and it seems like the PCV is a pretty common cause of oil consumption, so that's what I've got right here. We're going to change it, and spoiler alert, it does not involve lifting the hood. Alright, so let's briefly run through what we're going to need, starting with this. This is a genuine Toyota 12204-36020 valve subassembly, aka PCV valve. And this is actually the old one. I've already changed it. I'll put a link to this part in the description and the pinned comment in case you need this. I went with the Toyota brand because 2 reasons. 1, Amazon's got free 2-day shipping back, and 2, it was the same price as the one at the parts store, so I figured get the genuine real deal since this is a kind of a pain in the butt to change. You're going to need this is a 3/4, but a 19mm or 3/4 would be the same, and you'll need this combination of extensions. I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but these are the Harbor Freight wobble extensions. Need that combination of extensions. You'll need a small ratchet, 10mm, doesn't have to be a deep well, but that's what I got. And you'll need a 4-way. You see the lug nuts there. You already know we're taking the tire off, so you're going to need a jack and a jack stand. Very important you have a jack stand, because you're going to be all up underneath this car and you ain't trying to die. Go ahead and clock your wheel hard right once you get it off and support it on the jack stand, because that's going to come into play later. And with that being said, let me go back in time to when I changed the PCV valve just a few minutes ago. Alright, so got the car safely supported on a jack stand. You definitely don't want to be laying under it this vulnerable without a jack stand. Got the wheel turned all the way to the passenger side. You'll see when this is important, this tie rod goes more in line with this control arm. It gives you a little bit more working room. I've got this bracket taken off of this 10mm bolt, and I just threaded it back in there so I didn't lose it. I'm gonna fish you guys up in here, bear with me. The hose on the PCV valve is right there. That black or brown oily looking hose, you see it's got some braiding on it, braided sleeving on it. It's right behind this kind of plastic white and black actuator of some sort. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but if you follow that around, there's that hose again. You can see it really good right there. And you notice I took my clamp off and slid it back and actually pulled that hose off the barb. Moving this tie rod helps you is because that's about the only way you can reach up in there and grab it. The reason I'm pulling it off is to make this hose a little easier to grab and twist and pull off. So I'm gonna pull this off, and then I'll check back once I get the socket on the PCV valve. You can just pull it off without messing with this clamp at all. Just be pretty gentle, because whenever it does come off, it's gonna be a little violent. You don't want to bust your knuckles up or anything. All right, it's gonna be hard to show in the car, but I want to show you the setup. You got your PCV valve mounted like this. I've got a 3/4 inch socket. In reality, I'm pretty sure this is actually a 19, but a 3/4 fits in there. Go to Harbor Freight, get you some of these extensions that have the swivel end on them. They're cut so they have a little bit of a swivel to them. Not much of a swivel, but just enough. And the trick is, this one is too long, but the medium and the shortest one together is the perfect combination to go with that deep well socket and your 3/8 ratchet. So here's the valve right there. You can barely see where you pulled that hose off. You got your floppy ratchet set up, and you just literally just fish that bad boy on there as good as you can. It looks something like that. You can see that longer extension puts you into the frame rail, so you couldn't use it, and the floppies let you get, I'll try to show you, but right there against the block, this gives you a little bit of room. I've already broke mine loose here, so I just gotta, it's hand tied in there, so I just gotta pull it out now. And I found, at least for me, ergonomically, it seems like everything I do, I can face away from the car and just feel where it's at a little bit easier. Ta-da! So here's the old PCV valve. 12204 360 20. You can hear it still moves some, but this is the new PCV valve. 12204 360 20. It's much more free. We're just going to do the exact opposite to put this guy back in there and plug everything back up. After wrestling this thing for a good 4 or 5 minutes in the dark, I finally figured out the perfect combination of curling my toes, sticking my tongue out, and squinting really hard, and got this thing threaded in there. It's a little bit difficult to line those threads up when you can't see them. Now for the most satisfying part of any job. Ta-da! Snug this thing back up, put the hose on, and get to rocking and rolling. Torque spec. Now just to get the hose back on and we'll be out of here. Like I said, this is that hose we took off earlier. You're just going to want to check this thing over real good for cracks around both the ends. Move this braiding around, make sure there's no cracks hiding underneath it, and make sure it's still flexible. I'm going to throw this thing back in. Absolutely zero shot I'm showing any of this. I'm just going to wing it, throw it back in there, slide these clamps on by hand, and check in with you when I get that in. Alright, so there you have it. Hopefully 5-6 minute video on changing that PCV valve. I know there's several videos out there. I watched several myself, but kind of wanted to give my own take on it because honestly it's not as bad as everyone makes it out to be. While I'm probably a little more mechanically inclined than most people, I'm by no means a full-time mechanic. I sit at an air-conditioned office all day long, type on a keyboard, so I mean, kind of if I can do it with a little motivation and a helpful video from BCdriven, maybe you can too. Like I said, I got maybe an hour and a half in this, but probably half of that hour was just figuring out what tools I was going to need because I was just winging it. So you already got that because you're a subscriber of BCdriven, right? If you found this video helpful and you're just looking for a way to help me out, give the video a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, subscribe button. Any of that stuff goes a long way and it don't cost you a penny. So I'd really appreciate it if you could help me out because I like helping you out, or some other cheesy YouTube crap. See you on the next one.